Hello lovely friends and welcome back to Trauma Talk, where we talk about issues relating to life in the aftermath of trauma. I am Jo Beckwith, your host for the evening. I wanted to talk about a new show that is on Netflix called Unbelievable. I just finished binge watching all 8 episodes in less than 24 hours because I'm recovering from surgery and I have some time off. There was a particular issue that was raised in the first episode that really stuck with me. First of all, let me say I absolutely loved this show and I would 100% recommend it to you if and only if you are in a place to see some really difficult scenes dealing with sexual assault. It is not easy to watch, and please do not put yourself through that if you are not mentally in a space to do so. But in the first episode, a girl is sexually assaulted. She goes to the police with what happened to her. She goes to her foster parents with what happened to her. She goes to her friends with what happened. This is a real story, by the way. This really happened in real life. And I think it starts with one of her foster parents saying that her reaction just didn't seem right. It just didn't feel right. You know, like her initial reaction in the hours after a man broke into her apartment and violated her just, you know, it just wasn't in line with what it should be. And then the detectives start thinking that the way, you know, she's reacting and all of the details of her story just don't line up perfectly. Did it really happen then? And her other foster mom has questions about it too, because she might just be being dramatic and looking for attention, because again, her reaction didn't line up with what they thought a survivor of sexual assault would be reacting like. And they're actually survivors themselves. And they're saying, like, I didn't react like that, so I don't, you know, I don't know that it really happened. And it is a horrific episode to watch in that the police and everyone around her essentially bully her into saying that it never happened. And then she ends up being charged for false reporting. Honest spoiler alert, in the end, she does get justice. But that whole idea of she wasn't responding the right way to what happened, I think is something that needs to be addressed, because I've heard it before. What is the right way to respond to being violated? What is the right way to respond to sexual assault? What is the right way to respond to the worst thing that has ever happened to you happening to you? Well, let me tell you the right way. Just kidding. There isn't one. The way that people respond to traumatic things is honestly as broad as personalities themselves. The idea that a victim should respond a certain way or that there's an ideal victim is ridiculous. On a side note, if you look at anything about the psychology of how trauma works, details are often difficult. Sometimes reports aren't exact because guess what? Someone has just gone through the worst trauma of their lives. Maybe not the worst trauma of their lives, but a significant trauma, and your brain is literally working differently. The chemistry in your brain shifts. You are not responding like a normal person because your brain is not in a normal state. It is so damaging to think that there is one way that you should behave. I don't know if I've actually talked about this on this channel or not. It is something I am still extremely uncomfortable saying out loud to anyone ever. So initially, the way that I responded to being sexually assaulted was adopting a scary dog literally that same day, just because I knew that something was wrong. I knew that something was unsafe. But this horrific thing was done to me, and I talked to him after. I actually talked to him on the phone the day after it happened. I listened to what he had to say. A week after it happened, I talked to him on the phone again. I listened to his excuses. I almost gave in to his interpretation of the events and all of his manipulation and mind games and just bullshit. I talked to my rapist willingly on the phone days after my assault. Why would anyone do that? Like, how is that normal behavior, is what a lot of people would say. Like, doesn't that mean it wasn't really that bad or didn't really happen? Not at all. I had a relationship with this person. This person was just about the only person in my life, the most important person in my life, someone who had brainwashed me for months. If you look at the whole picture and if you look at who I was, it made a lot of sense that I was looking to him for answers for this horrible thing that happened. But just looking at, I talked to my rapist a week after it happened, almost sounds incriminating of myself, but it's not. I don't know what you've experienced. I know that so many people who watch this channel have gone through unspeakable things. It breaks my heart for every single one of you, and I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're watching this. I just wanted to address this issue in case anyone ever told you that you weren't a good enough victim, that you weren't responding to things the right way. There is no right way. You are traumatized. The way that people respond to trauma, like I said, is as unique as trauma itself, is as unique as personalities themselves. Every situation is different, and you can't judge it. You can't judge it based on just taking a 2-second look and saying, you know, this girl or this guy just isn't responding the way a victim of sexual assault should respond. There is no should. However you responded after what happened to you is okay. You were in survival mode. Your brain was literally just trying to make it. Your body was trying to make it. That's it. There's no shame in that. Like I said, I loved this series. I loved the issues that it brought up. They are important. They are hard. They are very difficult to discuss and to watch. I give Unbelievable my stamp of approval, but please, please watch it with caution. I'm 9 years out from everything that happened to me, and I'm now at a place where I can watch the show and not be super triggered, but I don't know where you are in your healing. But be careful and be gentle with yourself. Please know that what happened to you is valid, that you are valid, and that you are enough. This has been Trauma Talk. I am Jo Beckwith. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. If this is something that interests you, please hit subscribe on this channel, and I'd love to see you back here in the future. I love you guys. I'm thinking of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.